Velo may have had around a 6% recovery in the past 24 hours, but what is my mindset in 2026? Nothing I say is financial advice. However, I am clearly going to be doing what I've been doing throughout this whole time. I am personally, when it comes to all of my projects, literally dollar cost averaging once a month. I am not telling anyone to do anything, but this is what I do. And when it comes to Velo, what I'm a fan of when it comes to the project, despite still, even as of right now, being approximately 27 times lower than 20 cents and actually being nearly 3 times lower in terms of market cap when just compared to where it was back in August, right? Even despite all that, it may not necessarily seem like such a good thing. But if something that I like is lowered market cap, why would I complain about that? I just don't get it. I'm trying to dollar cost average, not when things are up here, right? Even though ultimately I'll never be able to know the exact moment, so I'm just dollar cost averaging once a month. But if I could dollar cost average down here, I'm not going to complain. If I walked inside a store, which has nothing to do with this, and there was a discount on my favorite pair of socks, I'd like it even more when it comes to the socks, right? I'm not talking about this, but I'm saying in real life, I like discounts. In this space, why would I not like the same? I just don't get it. But besides that point, when it comes to Velo, what I like fundamentally is that, first of all, when it comes to the project, it's primarily focused on remittances. And more recently, I've seen kind of a focus when it comes to AI meets PayFi in terms of what they kind of highlight. Now, when it comes to AI, of course, you already kind of know the narrative when it comes to this space. It's not the best as of right now when it comes to this, but at least we've seen a couple times historically when there was kind of a better sentiment when it comes to altcoins, we kind of saw projects that have a focus on that kind of go along with the ride a little bit in some cases. But ultimately, Velo is just known primarily to a lot of my friends, at least out there, for remittances, right? And that's kind of the main thing that it's focused on. Primarily, though, Velo is focused on that when it comes to the Southeast Asian region. However, when I take a look at just the idea and the concept of remittances, I feel like there's just not that many projects out there focused on this. And sometimes I just don't get why, because apparently, even according to Grandview Research, the global digital remittance market, at least in their perspective, is expected to reach over 60 billion by 2030. Now, I'm not going to be able to know exactly if that's going to be the case by 2030 because I'm not in 2030, I'm in 2026. But at least Grandview Research, when I take a look at something like that, it just kind of maybe, I guess, opens up my sort of viewpoint when it comes to the market of remittances and kind of understanding the scale and magnitude of it, right? And the thing is this, let me just explain real quick remittances because sometimes people like to ask me this, so I'm just going to explain. Imagine I'm from Japan and I'm working in Brazil, right? Let's say I'm working in Liberdade in São Paulo, Brazil, or let's say I'm working in Morumbi in São Paulo or Guarujá in São Paulo, or let's say wherever I may be working, right? Let's say I'm working there and I'm sending some back home from what I earned from the job, right? That's remittance right there. And the thing is, there's a lot of people who are, working abroad, right? So when it comes to remittances, of course, naturally we've kind of seen it become a pretty big focus when it comes to a market. But when it comes to this space, it hasn't really been focused on that much. But I wonder why, just because of the nature of this space, sometimes when we take a look at remittances kind of like in the more traditional sense, we see it sometimes take quite a while. You know what I mean? But just because of the nature of this space, we take a look at, kind of the aspects of blockchain technology. Sometimes the wait doesn't really feel that extensive. I don't get why more projects are not focused on this. I just don't get it. But besides that, is that necessarily such a bad thing when it comes to Velo? No, I don't think so, because if there's less competition, why would that be a bad thing? Now, if there's like hundreds upon hundreds of projects focused on this and they're actually kind of popular within this space, then okay, right? That may be a little bit disadvantageous for something like Velo, but there's not that many right now. Like the thing is this, what project do I really think about other than this when it comes to that specific niche? I don't think about 20 or 30. And also, my point of view is that when it comes to projects out there, they each have their own focus, right? So when people like to say, oh, why isn't Velo focused on becoming like a meme or something like that? Well, it's already kind of oversaturated in a lot of cases. Sometimes a project needs to be unique. It needs to be a bit interesting, especially as of right now. It just can't be like years ago, where as long as the project was just a different name, a different branding, a different kind of, cool sort of post that they do once a week, and then that's enough to stand out. No, it's not like that in a lot of cases anymore. Now there needs to be a little bit of a different vibe, right? There needs to be actually a little bit more substance as opposed to before, where just simply existing was already kind of enough. But as of right now, that doesn't seem to be the case. So yes, I guess arguably Velo could have taken a different route, right? But I'm glad it chose this route because at least it's entering into a niche that does not have that many competitors, really, even as of right now. And also on top of that, it I think understands that in this like time, they need to be a little bit different. They need to kind of showcase something that hasn't really been done too much before. So I like the mindset when it comes to that. But besides that point though, when I take a look at Velo, yeah, I mean, okay, it's still around 27 times lower than 20 cents. But even if I just take a look at back where it was in August, right? So we're nearly 3 times lower than that. Like Bitcoin, right? Despite being almost 90 grand as of right now, Bitcoin is not over 2 times lower than its all-time high. But the thing is, Velo is actually over 2 times lower than where it was just months ago in terms of market cap. I'm not telling anyone to do anything, but that's just what I think about when it comes to Velo. We'll have to wait and see what happens. But you know what? Actually, Velo has around 122,000 holders. So we're not talking about a project that's like really that small in the grand scheme of things. I mean, it's not that big, right? But at least it has around 122,000 holders, not to mention the ranking as of right now is 192 in the world in terms of market cap within this space. So it's not a project that's necessarily like too small, but it's not too big either. But that is not kind of something that disappoints me because I'm not looking for a micro cap, but I'm not looking for like something that has such a massive market cap. So when it comes to something like this, I'm still a fan, even though I'm not telling anyone to do anything. But kind of my mindset is that if let's say something is like at a level of 4, let's say it's like, not too small, not too big, the like sort of possibility of it going to level 0, even though it's a little bit closer than level 10, it's a little bit farther away than a project that's, let's say, already at like a level 1. You know what I mean? But being at a level 4, there is still, okay, a moment where it could hypothetically go down, but at the same time, the ceiling is also a little bit farther. Now, granted, something that's like at a level 1, 10 would be way farther, but at least the 0 for them is very close, right? But when it comes to a project that's kind of like mid-sized, the hypothetical 0 seems to be a little bit far in some cases, but also the ceiling is not like too close either, unlike some projects out there that are already so massive. So yeah, that's just kind of my mindset sometimes. Nothing I say is financial advice. However, I'm still staying patient, and my mindset going to 2026, just to summarize this video, is just doing what I've been doing throughout this entire time. I'm just dollar cost averaging and staying patient, waiting, and that's pretty much about it because I can't control this space. But the only thing I can control is myself, and that's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to stay patient and wait because that's the only thing I can do. However, if there's going to be more updates when it comes to Velo, I'll be sure to make videos when it comes to that. And I want to say thank you for watching. I hope you all have a very happy New Year's. Hopefully, you all have a very happy 2026. It's Willie the Captain, and I'll catch you all on the next one. I'm out. Peace. Bye.